Today we're going to look at National 5 level gradient using the National 5 gradient formula as well as a National 4 one. So I would like you to attempt these without using a calculator because these very frequently turn up in the non-calculator exam. Hi, from the previous 4 videos you should know that gradient is a measure of how steep a line is. You also should have met this formula, which I like to shorten to height over horizontal. And notice that the letter that we use for gradient is M rather than G. If we work from left to right on this line, it goes up, so we say the gradient is positive. For this line, if we work from left to right, it's going down the way, so we say that one has a negative gradient. The next one, it's a flat line, it doesn't have any steepness, so we say that for this one it has a gradient of 0. And the rogue question is when you get this one here, undefined, it goes straight up and down the way. So be careful with that one. Straight up and down the way, it's undefined. Say it has a height of 5. What would its distance along the way be? It doesn't have a distance along the way, so it's 0. And we can't divide by 0, and that's why this one is undefined. Right, if you don't believe me, check Siri. See what Siri says if you ask her to do 5 divided by 0. Now it's important that you remember this formula up here, the height over the horizontal one. It's a National 5 formula and it's used a lot within National 5, but also within National 5 we use another formula for the gradient, which is this one here. Again, it starts with M, and you have to memorise this one too. For this one here, you have to use 2 points from your graph and substitute it into your formula. And I'm going to give you a short explanation as to where this comes from, but you don't have to remember this next bit. It links to the National 4 formula where you do height over horizontal. Okay, so if we've got the point x1, y1 and the point x2, y2, we would draw a triangle between them to try and find our gradient. Now to get the height for the top, we would come across here to find what's the difference between this number and this number. So y2 minus y1. So the height is y2 minus y1. Okay, so just remember that this is because y's up. So that's where the height comes from. Okay, and then on the bottom we do our x2 minus our x1 because x is across. Okay, so we'll do a couple of these with you and then I'll let you loose. So if we look at A, we have 2 coordinates here. We have the coordinate 2, 8, and we also have the coordinate 5, 14. So for one of them, you call one of them x1, y1, and for the other one, we call it x2, y2. So to get our gradient, we need to write down our formula. And once we've got our formula written down, we can start to put in the correct numbers. So y2 is 14. y1 is 8. x2 is 5. And x1 is 2. So we need to tidy up the top of our fraction. 14 take away 8 on the top gives us 6. And on the bottom, 5 take away 2 gives us 3. 6 divided by 3, that gives us 2. Okay, next one. We have 2 coordinates. I'm going to label one of them x1, y1, and the other one x2, y2. Again, I need to write down my formula. And once I've got my formula down, I need to start substituting my numbers in. y2 is 5, y1 is 9, x2 is 6, and x1, oh yeah, x1, that's where I'm up to, is -2. Okay, so on the top, 5 take away 9 on the top makes -4. On the bottom, we need to remember that minus minus makes a plus. 6 plus 2 on the bottom, that makes 8. Okay, and this fraction here can be cancelled down. 4 goes into the top and 4 goes into the bottom. Divide by 4 makes 1, divide by 4 makes 1. So I have -1 times 1 makes -1, and 1 times 2 makes 2. So you can see I've got a negative gradient. Okay, pause the video and see if you can manage C and D. Be very careful with your negatives. Okay, I'm going to write out the answer for C now. Okay, we need to be careful for this one because on the bottom you're taking away a negative number. So on the top we're going to have 0 take away 7, and on the bottom -4 plus 4 makes 0. Ah, I spy a trick question. We can't divide by 0. The gradient is undefined. We have a vertical line. Trick question. Okay, next one. Again, you've got to be careful because x1 is -1. So you're going to end up with 3 take away -1. So this one here in the top, 8 take away 8, and on the bottom, remember that they make a plus, so you're going to end up with a 4 on the bottom. But 0 divided by 4 makes 0. You've actually ended up with a horizontal line. Okay, so here we have 2 diagrams again so that we can work out our gradient. So same as the other ones, we label one of the points x1, y1 and label the other point x2, y2 and write down your formula. So I've written down my formula and I've substituted in my numbers. On the top here, 12 take away 4, and on the bottom 7 take away 0. You can't cancel that one down, so that's all that one's going to look like. Okay, again on the next one, label the points x1, y1, x2, y2. Write down your formula. Okay, so again, I've substituted in my numbers. Looking at the top, 4 take away 9 on the top. Well, 9 take away 4 is 5, so the other way around that's going to be -5. And on the bottom, 15 take away 0 is 15. Okay, I'm going to take that minus out. And I'm going to go about simplifying down my fraction. Divided by 5 makes 1. Divided by 5 makes 1. Okay, now it's a negative answer because a negative divided by a positive makes a negative. That's why I took that negative out to the front, out of the way. So on the top there, 1 times 1 makes 1, and on the bottom 1 times 3 makes 3. And that's that one done. Okay, these graphs are quite common. You can use your National 4 formula for these. They're very common at National 5. The height of this triangle is 6, and the horizontal for this triangle would be 3. Now I'm getting that from the 6 there and the 3 there. Okay, so I can just do height over horizontal for this and get a gradient of 2. Okay, so where the gradient that runs through the line AB can be written as AB 6 divided by 3 over 2. Now, I've nearly made a mistake. If you work from left to right, that will tell you whether or not you have a positive or negative gradient. So if I start at the left hand side and move, I'm going down the way. So actually I should have a negative sign here and a negative sign here to show that they're going down the way. Now I can also do this using the National 5 formula. And to use the National 5 formula, I would need 2 coordinates. So if we think about this point here, I go along 3 and up nothing. Whereas for the other point, I'm just going up 6. Okay, so how much am I going along for this one? Nothing, but I'm going up 6. So I have 2 coordinates that I can label x1, y1 and x2, y2. Okay, and it doesn't matter which one you label x1, y1 and which one you label x2, y2. So y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. 6 over minus 3. A positive divided by a negative makes a negative. 6 divided by 3 makes 2. So you can see that both ways give me the same answer. There's 2 more questions on the screen for you to try. Remember, have a look and see which way the slope goes. You can use the National 4 formula or you can use the National 5 one. Okay, so for the line CD, if we start at the left, we're going up the way, so this one's definitely got a positive gradient. The height of my triangle would be 2, and the horizontal for my triangle would be 6. So remember, we do the height over the horizontal, so we get 2 over 6. Now that can be cancelled down to 1/3. That's the National 4 formula, so how would we do it using the National 5 formula? We need the coordinates, so along 6, up nothing, whereas for the other coordinate, if I start at the origin, along nothing and it's down 2, so we get minus 2, 0 minus 2 for that one. Okay, and that's the rest of the working out that you should have got for CD. I'll do the working out for EF now. Okay, so we have a height of 12, I don't know why I wrote 3. A height of 12 and a horizontal of 20. So using your National 4 formula, height over horizontal, what goes into both of those? 4. So it just cancels down to 3/5. Okay, I've got my graph ready for using the National 5 formula. So remember, for this coordinate here, we're going along nothing up 12. And for this one, along the bottom here, we are going back 20 and up nothing, so it's minus 20, 0 for that point. So I'm going to write down my formula and work it out. And you can see that working it out that way gives you 3/5 again. So you just do it the way that you like, okay? You do it the way that gives you the answer, the correct answer most often. Okay, and here are some questions for you to try. So pause the video. Okay, and those are your answers. Ask your teacher if you've made any mistakes. Maybe it's me that's made a mistake, but check with your teacher.